Amelia had just turned 18 that spring, her heart restless for adventure. She had always been the quiet girl in her small English town, the one who preferred sketching in the park to crowded parties. One bright Saturday afternoon, she went hiking in the nearby woods. The leaves were fresh, the sun filtering through like golden rain. She heard footsteps behind her and turned. A tall boy, also 18, with sandy hair and hazel eyes, smiled shyly. "Sorry if I startled you," he said, his voice warm and polite. "I'm Ethan. I think I've seen you at the library before." Amelia laughed softly, a little nervous but intrigued. "Yes, I've seen you too," she replied, adjusting her backpack strap. They walked together for a while, sharing bits about their lives. Ethan loved photography and often wandered into the forest for inspiration. Amelia confessed her love for drawing landscapes. It felt like fate, to artists meeting in nature's gallery. As they crossed a small stream, Ethan offered his hand. Amelia hesitated, then took it, feeling a spark run up her arm. They sat by the water, watching dragonflies skim the surface. The conversation flowed easily, as if they'd known each other for years. When the sun began to sink, they reluctantly started heading back. But neither of them wanted the moment to end. They decided to meet again the next day for another walk. Amelia went to bed that night, thinking about his smile. Ethan lay awake, picturing her hair lit by sunlight. Something deep inside both of them whispered, "This is just the start." A beginning neither could have predicted. A story that was about to change their lives forever. The next morning, Amelia found herself arriving early at the forest trail. Her sketchbook was tucked under her arm, pencils rattling in her bag. Ethan appeared moments later, carrying his camera over his shoulder. His smile widened when he saw her waiting. They began walking deeper into the woods, where birdsong filled the air. Ethan paused often to take photos of sunlight through leaves. Amelia sat on fallen logs, quickly sketching the scenes he captured. They shared their work with each other, laughing at small mistakes. Time passed without them noticing, the forest pulling them in. Ethan told her about his dream to travel and photograph the world. Amelia confessed she wanted to open an art gallery someday. They talked about fears too. Ethan feared losing people he loved. Amelia feared never finding someone who truly understood her. By midday, they found a small clearing carpeted with wildflowers. They lay on the grass, pointing out shapes in the clouds above. Ethan brushed a petal from her hair, his fingers lingering. Her cheeks warmed, but she didn't look away. It felt easy, natural, like they'd known each other for years. When a breeze carried the scent of pine, Amelia breathed deeply. "This place feels magical," she whispered. Ethan nodded. "Especially with you here." They lingered until the shadows grew longer. On the way back, their hands brushed more than once. By the trail's end, their fingers had intertwined naturally. They both knew they would return again tomorrow. Neither realized the forest would soon test them in ways they couldn't imagine. For now, they simply enjoyed the start of something beautiful, a quiet love that was taking root among the trees. The following weekend, they decided to explore a part of the forest neither had visited. Ethan brought extra batteries for his camera, and Amelia packed snacks and water. The air was crisp, the morning mist curling between the trees. They followed a narrow path, laughing and talking, unaware it was fading behind them. Ethan stopped often to photograph rare mushrooms and twisting roots. Amelia knelt to draw a deer that briefly appeared between the trunks. Hours passed, and the sun rose high overhead. They didn't notice the path had split into smaller trails. When they finally decided to head back, nothing looked familiar. Ethan frowned, pulling out his phone, no signal. Amelia's smile faded. "Maybe if we retrace our steps." But every direction looked the same. Endless trees, whispering leaves. They walked for nearly 2 hours, growing more uncertain. The forest, once warm and inviting, now felt vast and silent. A sudden rustle in the bushes made Amelia jump. It was only a squirrel, but her heart raced. Ethan reassured her with a gentle touch on her shoulder. They found a stream and decided to follow it, hoping it led somewhere. The sun began to dip, turning the light golden and low. Shadows stretched, and the air grew cooler. "We should find a place to rest for the night," Ethan suggested. Amelia's voice trembled. "You think we'll be out here that long?" He nodded grimly. "Just in case." They gathered dry leaves and branches, building a small shelter. The sound of owls echoed in the distance. Amelia leaned against Ethan, drawing comfort from his warmth. The stars slowly blinked awake above them. Neither said it aloud, but both felt the truth. They were lost, and their lives were about to change in ways they couldn't yet imagine. Morning came with a pale, cold light seeping through the branches. Amelia awoke stiff from sleeping on the forest floor. Ethan handed her a small bottle of water. "We have to ration this until we find more," he said. Her stomach rumbled, and they shared the last of the snacks. They followed the stream further, hoping it would lead to a road or village. The water sparkled invitingly, and Ethan tested it before letting her drink. They filled their bottles, relieved for now. By midday, the sun was strong, and sweat clung to their backs. They heard distant howls, sending a shiver through Amelia. Ethan reassured her, but kept glancing over his shoulder. That night, they made a better shelter from branches and leaves. Ethan started a small fire with stones and dry twigs. The smoke kept the insects away, but they still felt exposed. They talked quietly, sharing childhood stories to distract from fear. Amelia told him about her first art contest win at age 12. Ethan spoke of the time his father taught him to fish. The firelight flickered over their faces, drawing them closer. Amelia admitted she was scared but felt safer with him there. Ethan promised, "I won't let anything happen to you." The promise hung between them like a fragile but powerful shield. They fell asleep huddled together for warmth. The forest hummed with unseen life around them. Somewhere far off, a branch cracked, making Amelia stir. Ethan stayed awake a little longer, listening, protective. Above them, the moon drifted through thin clouds. It was only the first day, yet it already felt like a different world. A world where survival and love would now be their only guides. Days turned into weeks, and the forest became both their prison and their home. They learned where to find berries that wouldn't make them sick. Ethan caught fish with a sharpened stick, and Amelia cooked them over fire. They marked trees with stones, hoping to keep track of explored areas. One afternoon, dark clouds rolled in, and a violent storm erupted. Rain drenched their shelter, forcing them to cling to each other for warmth. Lightning split the sky, and thunder shook the ground. In that chaos, Amelia spotted a faint glimmer far through the trees. When morning came, they followed that direction with renewed hope. Hours later, they stumbled upon an old wooden sign half buried in moss. It pointed toward a hiking trail, nearly overgrown. Their pace quickened, hearts pounding with anticipation. The path grew clearer, and then voices. They emerged into a campsite where a small group stood stunned. A man rushed forward, asking if they were all right. Ethan and Amelia laughed and cried at the same time. They explained their month-long ordeal in fragments. Rescuers offered blankets, food, and warm drinks. As they sat by a large campfire, Amelia looked at Ethan. "We made it," she whispered, tears in her eyes. Ethan squeezed her hand. "We made it." Together, they both knew the forest had changed them forever. It had taken their comfort but given them something greater. Their love had been tested in the harshest way possible, and it had only grown stronger with every trial. Weeks later, back in town, they still walked hand in hand. The memory of the forest would always stay with them, not as a place of fear, but as the place their love truly bloomed. And that was the real ending, not survival alone, but survival together.